What's up guys, Bua Davis here. A few weeks ago I did tutorial about 2D movements in Unity and some of you asked me to do same in 3D. So here we go, and I have this empty 3D scene and we will be working here today. And first of all, let's create ground to walk on for us. And to do it in the hierarchy, just click on the empty space and you will see a 3D object. And let's create cube. Let's resize, scale it properly. We don't need to have big Y, but we will change X and Z. All right. It will be enough, I think, but we can also change color of this floor because it's white and it's boring right now. And if you don't know how to do it, you should just apply material on it. And to create material, you will go in the assets folder and on the empty space, create, you will see this material. You can name it something like ground. And you will see in the inspector this albedo, and you can click on this white color and make color of anything you want. And when you are happy, you can just drag this material into your object, in our case into our cube, and our ground is ready. So let's move on and create our player. Again, 3D object, and I will use capsule for my player. And I don't need this capsule collider for now, so let's just delete. We also need to have some kind of eyes to control where are we heading. And to do it, we can click on the capsule, 3D object, and cube. Well, it's pretty big cube for our eyes, so let's scale it down on all of the axes. Okay, it will be fine. I think we can make X bigger. Okay, we can also change color of our eyes. It's the same principle. And our player is ready. Just make sure to go in our eyes, which is cube, and delete this box collider. We don't need it. And now let's create empty. And let's call it player and drag our capsule to our player. So we will store our script and everything we need into our empty game object player. And let's add component, and we want character controller. So search in the search box character controller, add, and it will act like our engine, and we will use this character controller into our script as well, but we need to resize our controller. We can change the center of it, and it's basically this blue line. I hope you see, and I think it's fine. We can obviously make it better. Okay, it looks fine. You can also change radius and height of it if you want, but for my player it looks fine, and we are ready to go and make our player to actually move. For it, as usual, we need new C# script. So in the assets folder, click on the create C# script and call it anything you want. I called it player movement. Already prepared this empty script for us, and let's just drag our player movement script into our player. Okay, indeed it's here, and let's double click and actually start coding. As I mentioned, this character controller, which I added, will be act like our engine, and we will use it. So let's get reference to it to be able to use it. And we can say public character controller, and let's name it controller. Okay, and we also need one public float to control our speed, and let's make speed something like 6F. We can always change it in the inspector since it's public. We don't need the start, so let's delete the start. And in the update, first of all, we need to store information about our inputs on horizontal and on vertical axis. To do it, we can say horizontal float horizontal equals input dot get axis row, and we want horizontal with capital H. Let's make sure to type everything correctly here because it's case sensitive and otherwise it won't work. We will do same for the vertical. So float vertical will be equal input dot get axis row, and the axis we want is vertical. All right, now we can make one vector free for our direction. Let's call it direction, and it will be equal new vector free. Now this new vector free will take three parameters x, y, and z. For the x, we have our horizontal movement, so we can type horizontal. We don't need to change y because we are not going to jump. We are just trying to move, so we don't need y. So 0f, and for the z we will have vertical because we will be moving forward with vertical axis. And we can also type here dot normalize. But first of all, we need to make sure to deal with our parentheses correctly. And here we go. Normalize is just for smooth movement. And now we can actually say that if our direction is greater than direction dot magnitude is greater or equal than 0.1 f, which means that we are trying to move either on horizontal or vertical axis. We want to move. So we can say this controller, finally we will be using it, dot move. And in parentheses, we can say our direction times speed times time dot delta time. Very simple. We can save this script. Very simple lines of code. We can go back in Unity, let it compile, and first of all, we need to assign our controller into our script. So click on your player where you have your script and drag our character controller here in the empty spot. And let's press play and see if everything works so far. And here we have our player which moves, which is fine, but as you see, is not rotating right now. That's why we created our eyes to control our rotation. So we will change code a little bit here. And let's see. We have our horizontal, vertical, and when we are changing our magnitude, what we are going to do, we will need new float. So float, and let's call it target angle. All right, and we can use mathf.8and2, which will return some angle between x and z. That's why we will type here direction x, comma direction z, and we will multiply it to mathf.red to degree because we want to get degrees to proper rotation. And here we will say our transform.rotation will be equal to quaternion.polar, and it will take three values. So we can say 0f for the x. We will have this target angle to use as 0f once again. And that's it. If we save this script, to save, by the way, you can click on the Control S or Command S if you are on Mac. And let it compile, and let's go back in Unity and see if everything works fine now and if we are able to rotate. And indeed, we are able to rotate our player and our eyes are rotating with us. It's everything great and you can use it as it is right now, but as you see, I don't know if you see, but if you will do it, you will find out that the movement of our eyes is pretty snappy and it's pretty robotic. It lacks some smoothness, and I don't want to have this kind of rotation. So that's why we can use more advanced techniques here, and it will be a little bit complicated, but don't worry, it's pretty simple at the end, and I'm sure that you will understand. First of all, we will need some new variables, actually two variables. One will be a public float, and let's call it turn smooth time. And let's make it something small like 0.1f. It will be for our smoothness, and we also need some velocity, so float turn velocity. Alright, now we can go back in our update when we are changing our horizontal or vertical, and before our target angles here, or let's make it after our target angles, we can say that we want new float, so float, and let's call it angle. And we can use special method, which is mathf.smooth dump angle. And if you hover over on our smooth dump angle, you will see that it takes few parameters. We need float current, we need float target, we need red float current velocity, and some smooth time and max speed. Alright, so let's make it. For our current, we have our transform dot polar angles dot y. Okay. For our target, we have our target angle, obviously, and for our smooth velocity and smooth time, we already created our smooth time and smooth velocity, so we can say ref, so reference to turn smooth velocity, and here we will take our turn smooth time. Alright, I know it sounds complicated a little bit, but it's not. You just should know what to use, and when you hover over, it tells you everything. And we just need to change this target angle to be angle. Here, this one. And that's it. Our script is ready, and it was that simple. Make everything smooth. And let's go and see if everything works fine now. So we have our turn smooth time, which we can change if we don't like something, and we have our speed. So let's press play and see if everything works fine. And our rotation looks much better. We have much more smoothness right now, and our player is obviously ready. So good job, guys, if you completed it with me, and I hope this video was informative for you. And if you have any questions or if you want to see something specific, just leave the comments down below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you click on the ring notification bell, it will be fine and you won't miss any new upcoming interesting videos. So thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye bye.